Welcome to the Containment Zone, a place where every file isn't just a record of the anomalous, but a scar left behind by something the universe tried and failed to forget. Because sometimes the anomalies we document aren't mistakes. They're not accidents of nature or errors in physics. Sometimes they're warnings. And today, we open one of the oldest and most terrifying of them all. Because what if SCP-354 wasn't a portal? What if it's something worse? A wound? This isn't the story you were told. This is how it could have happened. And maybe how it still is. At first glance, it's just a pool. Circular, 48 meters wide. Perfect. Unnaturally perfect. Not a ripple, not a sound. No streams feed into it. No water flows out. It simply exists, surrounded by barren earth. Cracked. Lifeless. A crater. That was never caused by an impact. The liquid inside isn't water. It's red, but not red like paint, not like rust. It's deeper, thicker, a shade that feels wrong, dark, viscous, opaque like fresh blood, but heavier. If you stir it, if you dare, it doesn't move like liquid. It clings, it resists, it holds on. And the air, it doesn't smell metallic. It smells sterile, chemical, like the air in an operating room, like the moment before stitches are pulled tight. Even the animals know. There are no birds, no insects. Not even the wind touches this place. The locals, the few who remember, they don't call it a pool. They call it the place where the sky opened. When the Foundation first discovered SCP-354, they thought they understood it. A portal, a doorway. Simple, clean, a connection point. Between worlds, or maybe dimensions. But the assumption was simple. Something is on the other side. And at first, that seemed true. Because things came out of it. Things that defied understanding. Creatures made of bone and cartilage. Walking on limbs that bent the wrong way. Insectoid masses of chitin and eyes. Dripping fluids no microscope could classify. Machines, laced with flesh, or worse, flesh, shaped like machines. Each time, the Foundation captured them, tested them, cataloged them, and the answer always seemed the same. They're coming from somewhere else. Somewhere beyond, a universe, a dimension. But something was wrong. None of the entities ever behaved like explorers. They didn't scan. They didn't adapt. They didn't learn. They attacked. Instantly. Reflexively. Not like invaders, but like a reflex. Like an immune response. Decades of analysis. Patterns. Hiding in plain sight. The first mistake? The assumption that this was a two-way door. The truth was much worse. Because every time the Foundation tried to contain the pool, every time they erected fences, deployed reality anchors, built walls, the pool responded. First, minor events. An entity, then two, then four, then more, and each stronger. Larger, angrier, not random, not chaotic, escalating, as if something on the other side. No, not on the other side, as if the pool itself recognized the intrusion and fought back. Entities no longer made of recognizable biology, fractals of matter, kaleidoscopes of muscle and bone, arranged in patterns that made no anatomical sense. Things that twisted gravity, bent light, warped time within a 50-meter radius. They weren't visitors. They were white blood cells. And humanity was the infection. When the high-energy scans came back, the Foundation expected a tunnel, a spatial fold, a wormhole. Instead, they found nothing. Not emptiness, not vacuum, but something worse. An absence. A place where geometry doesn't exist. A space that refuses to be mapped. Not because it's hidden, but because there's nothing to map. The pool isn't a passage, it's a rupture. A place where the skin of the universe was torn and the creatures coming out of it aren't from anywhere. They are formed by the rupture itself, by the systems trying to seal it. Clotting agents, patches, immune responses. But the problem was us, our presence, our instruments, our containment. We weren't observers. We were the irritant, the bacteria inside the wound. And the more we tried, the more the wound resisted larger entities, entities that didn't match any known form of physics, organisms made of spinning rings of plasma, encased in lattices of bone, skeletal masses, wrapped in nerves that pulsed like they were thinking. Then came the inorganic ones, slabs of metallic flesh, hammering themselves into existence, with limbs that folded inward to nowhere. And finally, entities without form, clouds of something that burned electronics, shredded air, bent magnetic fields like wet paper. Every attempt to neutralize the pool was like ripping the scab off a wound that refused to heal. And every time we did, the body fought harder, and then the pool changed. The surface didn't ripple, it inverted. Not like water moving, but like fabric being pulled from beneath reality, a depression, a pulling downward. And then it opened, not metaphorically, physically. The surface split, not like water parting, like flesh tearing, a rupture straight through the fabric of existence. And from it, something rose. Not a creature, not a machine, but a structure, a frame of bone, or something shaped like bone, but thicker, laced with cords, tendons of something. That wasn't organic, but acted like it. It stretched upward, taller than the clouds. Its edges scraped the stratosphere. Its joints bent the wrong way, flaring open like the ribs of a cosmic thing, trying, desperately, to sew reality shut. Across its frame, lines of scar tissue formed, but the scars weren't on it. They were on the sky, as if the atmosphere itself was being stitched. Every camera, every satellite, every eye recorded the impossible. The structure reached into space, cables, veins, ligaments, hooked into the edges of perception, grabbing, not matter, but the concept of place itself. The sky folded, not like clouds moving, like fabric, bending, compressing. The ground trembled, not shaking, but trying to pull itself upward, folding back into itself. And the sound, it wasn't thunder, it wasn't earthquake, it was deeper, a sound that didn't come through the air, but straight into the bones. A frequency below hearing, a groan, a cosmic scream. The universe didn't want this wound open. and it was trying to close it. The Foundation fled. All staff, all research, evacuated. Every sensor began failing, not because of interference, because the place itself began refusing to exist. Walls folded, corridors collapsed, not like structures falling, like geometry unraveling. Corners didn't connect, angles bent into curves, then into nothing. The sky above the pool became a hole, not black, not empty, just absent. A circle where existence stopped, and then silence. A flash, not of light, of concept, as if the idea of space, of location, blinked. And when it was over, the pool was still there, smooth, still, as if nothing ever happened. And now, we ask, if SCP-354 isn't a portal, but a wound, how many more are there? If space can tear, then how many rips go unseen? How many are at the bottom of the oceans, beneath the ice caps, hidden under mountains, floating silently between stars? Wounds that don't bleed matter, not energy, but bleed, possibility, existence. How many times has the universe screamed without us hearing it? How many times has it tried to heal while we kept picking the scab? So now, ask yourself, does SCP-354 ever really close? Or maybe it was never meant to, because maybe we're the infection, and the only reason it stays open is because we're still here, observing, touching, interfering. Maybe the universe never wanted us. Maybe reality is a living thing, and this is its immune system. Now, let me ask you something. If reality can bleed, if space itself can tear, what else might be broken? Without us knowing, what other what if has haunted your thoughts? What questions about the anomalies we contain or pretend to contain have you always wondered, but were too afraid to ask? Tell me in the comments, because here in the Containment Zone, the right questions are always more dangerous than any answer.